Hey, good afternoon. Coach Josh here. Hope you're having a great day and good week so far. I wanted to check in today and really talk about a few things, exercise related, really more on the psychological side of things. So I really hope, we're on the same page and you're ready, right? Um, because, one thing I know, this is something that holds really true to me in my life over the years. And of course, if you've ever struggled with motivation, right? And I think we all have, because it wanes, of course, but you ever really struggled with motivation to work out, you're definitely not alone. Some days we're excited, you're excited to exercise, I'm sure. Other days, not so much, right? And it's like your brain is not working, with you, or your brain is working against you. But why is that, right? And I think more importantly, how can we change it, right? And I think that's exactly what I want to kind of talk to and really dive into today, right? And I think it's kind of that mind-body connection. I know I talk a lot about perception, especially when we talk about doing progress photos, how our brain and body can have this disconnect, especially when we're seeing really, really, really good results. The scale's going down, the weight on the scale's going down, measurements are going down, but sometimes you look in the mirror, it's just like, I don't see those results, right? I don't see it there. Those progress photos can really, really help. But when we take a step back and look at things, even holistically, in a sense of the mindset side, right? The mind body connection. Um, and why exercise feels tough sometimes and how we can kind of shift our mindset to make it easier and more effective, right? But hopefully by the end of this video, of course, and what I kind of dive into a little bit today, you'll not only understand why it's hard to get moving, but you'll have some really good strategies we'll talk about to make exercise a necessary and natural part of your habits, right? And your lifestyle, right? So we'll kind of dive into that. But um, why is it so hard, right? Especially right when you get started. I can usually tell, and again, the years and years and years of doing this, oftentimes when there is a delay in getting started and moving, and even that first 2 weeks of getting into a new program, how likely it is down the road that, we'll get to a certain place that we want to get to, and how motivating it is to continue, right? And so the real reason exercise feels really hard isn't just about being tired or unmotivated. It's literally your brain trying to protect you, right? And yeah, I mean, sometimes it's the discipline side, absolutely. But our brains are really wired to keep things the same, right? It's called homeostasis, right? Homeostasis is your body's happy place essentially, right? And so if you've been inactive, especially for a long duration of time, your brain assumes that that's your normal state, right? That's where our comfort zone is. And it works really hard to keep it that way. So when you suddenly introduce more movement, your brain resists, and that's its only, you know, um, natural way to really do that, right? And it's like, whoa, like, oh, hold on, let's take a step back. That's extra energy that we don't need to spend, we don't want to spend, and it's really, really trying to pull back a lot, right? And so our body is really good at storing energy, right? And the brain treats energy like money in a bank almost, right? It doesn't really want to spend money, right? And that, essentially, unless it absolutely has to. And the reason why is sometimes you feel tired before you even start working out. And you think like, okay, I'll go later, but the later never comes, or something comes up, or a life event, or yeah, I gotta go pick up the kids. I got a work call. I gotta run to the store. So even after like even let's say starting a workout, right? Even a routine, you might feel extra sluggish outside the gym. And that's the other side of it, right? And so your brain is kind of doing this. uh, tennis volley, right? You're going back and forth. You're negotiating with yourself. Stay still, save the energy. But here's the thing: like our modern lifestyles now don't require us to move as much as like we used to move, right? Back in the before times, you know, we if we don't make movement a priority, our metabolism is going to slow down. We have to, move to survive, right? We had to hunt our own food, all those things, over the ages has changed us and it has changed our metabolism. And this is kind of what we talk about all the time is boosting and revving your metabolism. So, um, it's essentially if we don't make movement a priority, our metabolism is going to slow down, and it does slow, right? We have hormones, our hunger hormones, they get out of sync, and maintaining that healthy weight becomes even harder to do, right? Way harder, right? But we could do some things to change it. We can definitely outsmart it, and that's kind of what I wanted to talk about a little bit more. Within the mindset side and just making things a little easier too. And one of those things you can definitely do is with planning. But our brain typically resists movement, like I said. But there's lots of different very, very intrinsic parts of our brain that kind of work together and, you know, obviously do different things. One one part of it, the PFC or the prefrontal cortex, that's the part of your brain that is responsible for kind of like logic and planning, right? And can override that resistance. But it definitely means that you need to plan ahead, right? And we talk about that with meals and meal planning, but it should also relate to your workouts as well, especially when we don't treat it as kind of an importance day in and day out or week in and week out, right? And that's kind of where you see your 3 day workout weeks turn into two or even one, right? And so you should have a different mindset going into it, right? You wouldn't want to show up to work meeting or even to work without knowing like what's on your schedule, right? Because then it's just chaotic and then things just stack up and you get behind, right? So we have to treat our body, our schedule with our workouts, what we're trying to do to accomplish the goals the same exact way, right? So one really good trick to do, and this is obviously the obvious, um, but it's getting our calendar set, right? Physically writing it down on your calendar in your phone, right? And your Gmail calendar, in your Yahoo or Ymail calendar, any calendar you have, or way in which you can track or set an alarm, right? Schedule your workouts there, right? You have your workouts in your app. It's one thing to do it there and you know we're just like that's just another thing we have to get into the app to do that and remind ourselves to do it. But that's the thing, right? Don't leave it to chance. Set yourself, especially if you know that you're busy, and you're having a hard time right now, even just getting in, one or two workouts a week. Put it in your calendar, set a reminder, set an alarm. Treat it like an important meeting that you cannot cancel. You having a meeting with your boss 3 times a week. There's multiple people in those meetings that rely on you to show up to make that presentation. Treat it that way. And I swear, if we don't treat workouts like impromptu meetings, it's going to change your entire brain chemistry of how we think about it, right, in relation to our lives, right? Um, so that's two, right? Put in your calendar, set a reminder, and then prepping the night before, kind of laying things out, whether you're working out at home or at the gym or doing a little bit of both, right? You can prep definitely the night before. There's lots of ways that you can lay out your workout clothes the night before. Make sure it's on a chair where you can see it, where you're getting up, where you get ready generally during the day, the most part. Um, you want to prep your pre-workout or post-workout snacks or meals, right? So you make it easier, the easiest way and possible way to start and to drive yourself to go in. So things are more structured, right? And the more structured your approach is, the easier it will definitely be to stay consistent with it. Yeah, that is for sure, right? And there are stressors that come with this too, right? Exercise and stress, they are directly related because we have positive stress responses, we have negative stress responses. So exercise is technically a stressor, but not all of those things are bad, right? So positive stress that comes with exercise helps us grow stronger, right? Negative stress, like too much exercise or not at all, can definitely, you know, uh, do do bad for us, right? And so if you push too hard, your body may rebel, leading to that kind of the burnout, right? But if you move too little, your body struggles to adapt as well, right? So what the key is, the balance, right? It's just the balancing act that we're trying to do with everything. And so, kind of like the rabbit and the tortoise, like, it's not just um, the old saying that slow and steady wins the race. It really plays true again with results and how we can create that new balance with our brain and our body, especially when we're just starting, right? So it's just about finding the right challenge level, enough to push yourself, but not so much that you drift, right? And I do feel like when you hit a good workout and it feels good at the end, yeah, we do dread it a little bit. Again, we're tired, but those those endorphins, especially that get released, make us feel so much better. And that's why the mindset matters, and the mind body connection will really enhance from there. And so here's the magic, right? It's exercise isn't just about the weight loss, or looking a certain way or getting to a certain point. It has a huge impact on our mental health, right? So when you move, your body releases those endorphins that we talked about, and those endorphins are kind of that natural mood booster, right? Definitely helps boost, a lot of our feelings. Um, but you also have serotonin, right, which helps with stress and anxiety. And so, I'm sure most people know that the serotonin and dopamine kind of, levels that we have, because dopamine supports the motivation and focus that we need. And so it means that even when you don't feel like exercising, if you start, you'll likely feel better afterwards, right? And so combining the movement with the mindfulness, like focusing on your breathing or just like simply being there present, can really just enhance the benefits way more, right? Um, when I, you know, working in facilities for years, one of the things that I, used to do, especially with someone who's never stepped foot in a gym or, rehab facility, is just getting there. That is one of the biggest steps you can do. Just focusing on getting through those doors, right? And so that's the biggest takeaway, I would say, from a lot of this, right? And the big picture, that when your brain resists exercise because it wants to save energy, you can override that energy, or that, I should say, that resistance, right? By planning ahead, right? Creating structure. It's not just physical anymore. It dramatically improves your mental well-being. And so a lot of our challenge, or our challenges, is to, you know, get it on the schedule, right? Focus on the next day, just one step at a time. So schedule your next workout within your calendar, set that reminder, plan ahead and prepare ahead. Sticking to it, even if your brain says later, right? Even if you don't, actually have the full 30, 45 minutes, hour to do it, bring that down to 10, 15 minutes. I promise. Even if you do 10, 15 minutes of a single routine, your body will thank you, your brain will thank you for it, and it'll start to crave movement more, right? And so it's not movement isn't optional, but it's necessary for both your body and your mind. So definitely let's make it happen. This week, this month, there's, several days throughout the month that, you want to focus on being present, right? But Definitely want to hear your thoughts. So, kind of drop a comment here if you have any questions and any takeaways from that. Let me know if this has helped, right? If you need any extra guidance, I'm here to support you. But the biggest thing is let's get moving. So, hope you have a great day, a great week, and we'll talk to you soon.